Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm doing some nail art inspired by the Hash Slinging Slasher. As seen from the actual episode, I did my best to paint on like the scene by scene that tells the story as told by Squidward. So if you want to know how I did all these nail art designs, then just keep on watching. Behold my collection of white nail polishes. Reasoning for this is because you're going to start off by painting all of your nails 2 coats of a white nail polish. So starting on the first nail design, which is going to be on the index nail, I'm just going to go on top of it with 1 coat of this baby blue polish. Next, what I'm going to do doesn't have to be perfect because it's just going to be a background, but I'm going to go in with different shades of blue as well as black and gray and just kind of paint on like a little wood shape, if that makes sense. Basically, this nail is inspired by the scene where Squidward's like, "Oh, very funny, Spongebob, the lights will flicker on and off." But as you can see in the actual episode, that nobody is touching the lights unless you count Nosferatu. But anyways, what I'm doing here is just going in with my dotting tool and black acrylic paint, and I'm just going to paint on a little rectangle shape. This is just going to be the outline for the, light switch we do later on. But in the meantime, I'm going to let that black acrylic paint dry. I recommend using acrylic paint because it's much easier to work with. However, I ran out, so I'm just going to use white nail polish to paint on a bunch of spider webs. By now, the light box has dried, so I'm just going to go in with this like tannish nail polish, and I am just going to fill in that rectangle. Nail polish takes a little more time to dry rather than acrylic paint, so I didn't really do too much detail right away. I just dotted on 4 little dots, like little black dots in the corners, and then I tried my best to paint on like the actual little light switch using black acrylic paint. Also went in with the light mocha acrylic paint to try to add some shadows, and yeah, this is pretty much what I came out with. I know it really doesn't look like a light switch. I mean, oh well, I tried my best. So moving on to the second nail design, which is going to be on my middle nail, and basically what I'm going to paint on is the scene where like Squidward answers the phone, but there will be no one there. So first things first is I'm just going to go in with black acrylic paint and roughly paint on the outline of the phone as well as Squidward's arm. So for the color of the telephone, I'm going to be using this gray nail polish that was a part of the Charlie and Dixie nail polish collection. It took a few days, but she's finally here. But anyways, now what I'm going to do is just go in with my dotting tool and that gray nail polish and just very carefully fill in like the phone. So I don't have an actual color for like Squidward. I just mixed in a little bit of baby blue and a little bit of gray acrylic paint to kind of form the color of his arm. But anyways, now what I'm going to do here is just go in with black acrylic paint and just re-outline everything. Next, what I'm doing here is, well, I'm going to let his arm color completely dry. I'm then just going to go in with black acrylic paint and paint on some swirls for the phone cord. Next, what I'm doing is completely optional, but you know me, I like to go crazy and all out in detail when it comes to my nail art. So I'm just going to paint on the background behind Squidward. Of course, if this is way too much detail for your liking, you can always just paint on his arm holding the telephone and call it a day. But anyways guys, here is the finished nail design. So instead of the third nail design being the ring nail, we're going to skip that, we'll come back to it later. But I'm going to go ahead and jump onto the pinky nail, and I am first just going to paint it 1 coat of that gray nail polish. What I'm going to do is go in with my toothpick and black acrylic paint and paint on 2 little black lines. I'm now going to go in with 2 different shades of green acrylic paint. I'm first starting off with the darker one, and I am just going to paint on the green slime that oozes from the walls. This is literally the easiest nail design to probably recreate from this whole mani because it's really foolproof, and plus all the drippy shapes are all different shapes and sizes. And even though the ooze is not a part of the original Hash Slinging Slasher story because the Krusty Krab always oozes green slime from the walls, I still figured it'd be a really fun nail design to paint on. Now we can mosey on back to the ring nail design. So this one was actually the hardest to paint on because of all the crazy detail that went into it. I'm going to try to paint on the scene whenever, the buses ran super late at night. Just going in with green for the tip, that's going to be the Krusty Krab floor. Different shades of blue and black for like the outside. Gray for the road. A darkish green flower for the background. So now what I'm going to do is just let every single one of these layers of acrylic paint completely dry. Okay, how do I explain what I'm doing here? I'm first going to go in with some orange acrylic paint to paint on the bus. And of course, I was actually watching the episode. That was the inspiration of my nail art. But yeah, I'm just trying to recreate how the bus looks outside from inside the Krusty Krab. And that's pretty much it for this nail design. So now moving on to the fifth and final nail design. So I am sorry that my 7-year-old iPad decided not to film like the first process of this. I first painted on the outline of the Hash Slinging Slasher. I then went in with red acrylic paint for his eyes, a light gray acrylic paint for the little highlights, a regular gray acrylic paint for his spatula, and I painted the rest of his body using black acrylic paint. And that's pretty much it. After that, we are pretty much done. Now all I gotta do is just go on top of all of my nails with a top coat just to protect the acrylic paint. You can choose any finishing you would like. Me personally, I really like how the matte makes my nail art look, so that's what I chose to go with. Yes guys, here it is. Here's the completed Hash Slinging Slasher nail art. I don't know, I really do love Spongebob. I really do love this episode, and I thought it'd be a nice little thing to do for Halloween. Yeah, let me know down in the comments what you thought of today's nail art, and as always, thanks for watching!